or you can put a few ice cubes and some water in there for a couple minutes, and then dump all that out before you make the rest of the drink.
Wow, that's actually a really,
That's
really
a
great.
yeah, you see that a lot of times when these guys are working on the bar. They'll just fill it with ice cubes, fill it with ice water, and then let it sit while they shake and do all the other stuff. Then they just dump all that out and pour it into the nice chilled glass. So you can, if you have a party, you can actually mix the Cointreau and the cranberry juice together in quantity. You'd
Hmm.
have to do the math because I was an English person. I was a verbal
I was
kid.
told there would be no math. Mix
Yeah,
as you will.
yeah. But so you can mix that all beforehand and then just pour the mixture into the champagne flute. Then give it a little stir and then dump the champagne on top, and that'll be a nice sparkling, rosy little drink.
Thank you
I
so
want to go.
much. That's a great poinsettia recipe, and I'll be sure to put that one up too.
I want to go to Neil's house and drink. Unfortunately, our segment is running long because I feel like we could have had Neil talk about drinks all day long. By the way, this is the most frustratingly sober segment we've done on this program ever.
It
Um,
might be frustratingly sober, but at the same time, so very fascinating.
Well, I've given you the tools so that after
Go
this,
for it.
all right.
you can take what I've given you and run with it and have a very happy, merry, extremely merry holiday.
Neil, thank you very much for joining us. You're listening to the Jim and Mickey Show, and we'll be right back after this.
All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer game.
Are you one of the few Americans still able to afford to buy a new car? Well, come on down and see Crazy Mary at Government Motors. G for Government, M for Motor. GM is now Government Motors. Along with seatbelts, airbags, and non-skid braking systems, Government Motors builds in protection against greedy corporate executives. Because at this company, the government's in charge. Yes, the trusted institution that brought you the DMV, the IRS, and FEMA is now honoring the warranties on any GM car. Rusty muffler inside your warranty period? Just send a picture of your muffler with your name, latest tax return, and party voter registration to Government Motors, the White House, Washington, D.C. Or for even faster service, call 1-888-GOVERNMENT, where GM's reduced our on-hold wait time to under 2 years. It's the public-private partnership that's too big to fail. Government Motors. Government Motors. Government Motors. Nobody beats a GM deal. Not if they know what's good for them. Now, back to the Jim and Mickey Show.
You are listening to the Jim and Mickey Show, and I have a lovely little note for Bob Geldorf and everyone who helped him with that holiday classic from the 80s. It's Ethiopia. They're full of Christians. Yes, they know it's Christmas. They knew it was Christmas before Europe did. We don't need to remind them. One of the most spectacularly misguided efforts at charity of all time, and really kind of heartbreaking that it ended up none of the food went to the people it needed to. It all got taken away by dictators. They stole the money, and it was just a disaster for the people
Well,
of
thanks
Ethiopia.
for that cheery little intro there, Jim. When do you know that it's Christmas time if you're not in Ethiopia and you're not a starving child and Bob Geldof hasn't written a song about you and forced at the time the top of the cream of the crop to sing about it?
I am a relatively early starter. I've referred to. They say that when Santa Claus comes down in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade that launches Christmas season.
Yes.
We've talked about Black Friday, and I think look by Black Friday the decorations are up. I noticed in my neighborhood that weekend after Thanksgiving was when everybody and their brother got out the ladders and started putting up the lights and stuff like that. So I think it runs from Thanksgiving to Christmas. I do recognize some of my neighbors had the skeletons left over from Halloween. They put pilgrim hats on them to make them appropriate for Thanksgiving. And then they just started putting Christmas lights around them. And somebody said, if you just blow them up on New Year's Eve, you've ended up, hitting for the cycle of all the holidays.
Nice. Just very versatile skeletons, those. Well, I will admit that the pumpkins that I had for Halloween that I did not carve were still out at Thanksgiving, but then they immediately went away when the Christmas lights go up. And the Christmas lights going up really is kind of, and again, I think it does start there at Thanksgiving, but you're right, that weekend after, as you know, I was out of town. I came back into town and pulled into my cul-de-sac, and I knew that it was Christmas time because everyone was lit up. The entire neighborhood was lit up except for our house. So we were looking like the Grinchy Grinches because we didn't have any of our lights up. So immediately we had to get lights up and trees up. And I'm like, look, we have to get on this. Look, we're the only one in the whole neighborhood who doesn't have their lights up yet, simply because we were away that weekend.
Why do Mickey White and Mr. Biased hate Christmas so much?
Exactly. I'm like, they're going to be like, we hate Christmas.
They've been hanging around that Santa hater, Jim Garrity.
Exactly. The guy who called Santa a fascist, him.
That particular Santa, although I got to, I think there's
yes, you really should clarify because people need to understand we were specifically discussing the Santa. So keep your hate mail to a minimum. We were specifically discussing the Santa that was in Rudolph because I'm a big fan of Santa. I will let you know that as an adult, I'm one of those people who would tell you out loud, I still believe in Santa Claus. And I think that miracles still happen. I think all of those things that you're supposed to give up when you're a grown up, and I just don't. I still insist that everyone go to bed before any of the tree or any of the presents go under the tree. Even for the adults, even if I have to move them all myself. So that's how much I've invested in the whole Christmas and Santa and tradition. For me, I really do become a little like a sparkly-eyed kid. And especially now we talk about the holiday lights, they get crazier and crazier every year. So we here in Richmond have something that's really very famous, the Tacky Light Tour. And you can buy tickets and you can get a map and there's like a radio guide and you can drive around and see the tackiest lights in Richmond. And they have to have something like a minimum of 60,000 lights to even be considered.
That's a tough minimum. That's a big ante to get in there.
Yeah, they make it worth your while. Like you see lights on things you didn't even know you could put lights on.
A measuring stick, you had mentioned of being a kid at heart, Mickey, and still believing, a real measuring stick of your naivete. Mickey, do you think you'll ever see a Social Security check?
No.
All right, so there you go.
Silly.
That is the limit of your credulity.
No.
Santa Claus, yes. The long-term viability of Social Security, no.
Not a chance. No, none.
You know, I like the Christmas light tour type program, the folks who really go all out with it. But you know what a tradition we need to bring to this country? I spent 2 Christmases overseas. It sucks to be away from your family on Christmas, but all over Europe, and we went to 2 of the best in Munich and in Salzburg, Christmas markets. And you're starting to see a couple cities start to do this, where you got usually small seasonal stalls set up, selling ornaments and knickknacks and candles and all kinds of things.
We have something similar to that here in Richmond, but it's only over a period of weekends, and they do it out at the raceway.
Okay, that's a pretty nice idea. Now, here's a real important question. Are they limited by open container laws?
Yes.
Continuing the theme of our program. Because we had glute wine, all kinds of really good stuff that you can get,
Well, yes, no, well, you can purchase them there. You just cannot drink them there.
Oh, no. See, because to their credit, Philadelphia started doing one. We visited the weekend after Thanksgiving. They kind of have the right idea. You have a Christmas tree up. Sometimes they'll have a ice skating rink. Actually, in fact, a spectacular Christmas market is outside of Munich International Airport. You don't even need to go into the city. They actually have one right outside there. They have some sort of flaming drink. I should have asked Neil DeWing about this. Neil. I should have asked Neil about this.
You tried to fancy him up too.
I did. He's doing, but it was it's just a great jovial atmosphere that we have something kind of similar to, Rockefeller Center, National Christmas Tree. The various U.S. cities have something nice, but when you add kind of that whole minute shopping, lots of sweets and pastries and goodies to eat, and being able to drink in public, that is a happy holiday combination right there.
That's a great combination. Honestly, you've hit on several of the things that are my favorite things about the holidays in that little combination. So it's one of the reasons I do enjoy kind of going to what we have here in Richmond. It's a bazaar, a holiday bazaar. I can't even remember what it's called, but it is all craftsmanship, and they come up. There's several weekends of them at RIR, and I used to go out there all the time. I've gotten less good about it as I've started to lean more on Santa Amazon this year as I've been traveling. But again, I can't complain about Santa Amazon because he is on point this year as well. So, coming up in the next segment, we're going to continue talking about Christmas and Christmas movies, classics, both old and new. And one of our favorite topics, Christmas songs. What is your favorite Christmas song? And when you hear it on the radio, is that the moment that you know it's Christmas? I'm Mickey White. He's Jim Garrity. We'll be right back.
My friend Amanda, I speak for the entire group when I tell you that you are cut out of the loop. Your phone cannot IM, so what are we to do? Either you get a new phone, or we get a new you. We could have avoided this entire mess if you had a phone from Verizon Wireless. Then we could all IM, and all this drama would pass. We won't talk behind your back about your big fat ego. Mobile IM is now on your phone, you're never alone.
Introducing Mobile IM from Verizon Wireless. The same instant messenger that's on your computer is now on your wireless phone. Verizon Wireless. We never stop working for you.
Now, back to the Jim and Mickey Show.
Where do you think you're going? Nobody's leaving. Nobody's walking out on this fun, old-fashioned family Christmas. No, we're all in this together. This is a full-blown 4-alarm holiday emergency here. We're going to press on, and we're going to have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny Kaye. And when Santa squeezes his fat white ass down that chimney tonight, he's going to find the jolliest bunch of assholes this side of the nut house. You're goofy. Don't piss me off, Art.
Welcome back. I'm Mickey White, and I'm here with Jim Garrity. I'm wishing you all a very happy holiday season. And one of the biggest parts of that season has become watching movies. And Christmas movies have become kind of part of our culture. And last week we talked a great deal about Rudolph, but there actually are some great movies out there, both old and new, that have kind of become classics for families across the country. Do you guys have any of those, Jim?
Well, the family as a whole does watch The Sound of Music, not an explicitly Christmas one, although I think it's heartwarming and kind of fits the season. Although it does lead to a slightly awkward conversation of, so son, this is what the Nazis are about. It's a really lovely movie about them singing things like, Raindrops on Roses, and then all of a sudden, oh, by the way, and here's what it was when the Nazis took over Austria.
And Edelweiss takes on like a whole different meaning.
There you go. I had a very passionate discussion with my wife this past weekend over what age is appropriate to show a child National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, because I will commend that as certainly the best non-die-hard Christmas movie of all time, or at least of recent memory.
That may have been the best qualifier ever. Could you repeat that?
One of the passionate you thought what you put on a hot dog was controversial, or 50 Shades or something like that. No. Ask whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie. And, before you know it, ho, 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 I have a strong argument will break out because, man, people are furiously insisting whether it is or is not a Christmas movie. But assuming you don't want machine guns in your Christmas movies, I've not seen – I had a big group of friends in college, and we all, despite having completely different parts of the country and family structures and religions and stuff like that, all of us looked at National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation and recognized something from our lives, whether it's the crazy relatives or we mentioned putting up the lights last segment.
Yes.
I had a much Russ, uncurl this ball. As I age, I relate to Clark Griswold a lot more at kind of a frightening level. So that's the nominee for the best non-machine gun oriented Christmas movie of all time.
Okay. Now, do you have any of the classics that you like, or is that your classic to you?
I think I said it's the one that speaks the most. I'll end up catching a It's a Wonderful Life or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I own very few movies. I am not someone who likes to watch a movie more than once. I don't see the point usually. And I am someone who owns very few movies, and one of them that I own is It's a Wonderful Life, because I do love that story. Another that I own is Elf.